Hello, Øredev. My name is Anton Gunnarsson. I work at a company called Empire Digital as a consultant. I have a small side business called Rimkrog. I have a podcast called ASDF, and that's pretty much it. You can find me on those links or on Blue Sky if you want something. But we are gonna talk about state or state management or state machines or whatever you want to call it. And we're going to do everything live. And I have a demo that looks like this. It's a buzzer of sorts. I don't know. Don't talk about the UX of this. I'm not a UX designer, but you can click start and it goes to the idle state. You can click bust, it goes to the bust state. Incorrect, back to idle. You can click bust, correct, and end. And then you have to refresh the page because you can't reset it. And this is like just an example. This could be pretty much whatever you want it to be. If it should be a form wizard, for example, we could do that as well. But I think form wizards are boring, so we're doing this demo. And we have these different buttons, and this implementation is very, very simple. It looks like this. I'm using React because that's what I do, but you can do this in any framework or even language. We have 4 states, 4 variables. If we're in the intro state, or if we're in idle state, or the bust state, or the ended state. And then we have just the buttons. The start button is disabled if we're not in the intro state, and when we click it, we set idle to true, and we set intro to false, and then so on, and so on, and so on. We also have some analytics, because who doesn't love analytics? And we just send some analytics event when the game ends. And down at the bottom, we just print what state we're in. So that's pretty nice, right? Everyone think this implementation is the best they've ever seen. But we're going to change it, because there's issues with it. Like, for example, if I forgot to set intro to false here, then when I click start, suddenly we're in the intro idle state at the same time. And if I click bust, we're intro bust, and incorrect intro idle, and so on and so on. And the same thing can happen if we forget to disable this, because why not? Then if we click here, and then we're bust, and then we start, and then we're both states again. It's impossible. So that's what you call an impossible state, like when you get into 2 of these states at the same time. And one simple fix for this is that we just remove all of this. We do a variable called state instead, and then we do set state. And we say this is use state, and we're in the idle state. And we just call this, that is a string instead. Then we can change these as well. We can say that I also disabled Copilot for this demo because I thought it was much more fun to see me fail writing code instead of Copilot auto creating it for me. But if you see any errors, please shout, because now you're my Copilot. And if you don't, I'm gonna enable Copilot again. And yes, that's a threat. So all right. So now we say that this is disabled if we're not in the idle state. And instead of doing it this way, we do set state to, sorry, this should be intro, right? I told you to scream at me. Then you go to the idle state. And then we do the same thing down here. Maybe we can just skip the disables for now, right? Who cares if the buttons are disabled? And then we do set state to, where are we going? We're going to bust state, bust. And we're going from, if we're incorrect, we're going back to the idle state. And if we are correct, we go to the ended state. And down here, instead of just doing it that way, we can just print state. So if we go back, did I save the file? Nope. All right. I've done something wrong. If state not intro.
Your original state is idle.
All right. Good. Thank you, Copilot. So now you can click here and you can go start, and you go to idle, you go bust, and you bust, incorrect, back to idle, and and then correct ended. Maybe we should fix the disable states as well, don't you think? I mean, that was hard to follow. We just do this, and then we do this, and then we do that, and then we do state not equals, and we're gonna do idle, and we're gonna do bust, and we're gonna do... This is fantastic. I mean, soon you're gonna shout like real solutions at me. And this should be bust as well, right? All right. Yeah, we're back. All right. Now this is much better. Now we can't end up in the impossible state. So if I forgot to disable this, then we can do start and bust, and then we click start, and then we end up in the idle state again. So that's much, much better. And one problem with this is that we don't want to be able to go like from the, if we go to the, let's say, bust state, we don't want to be able to go from the bust state straight to the idle state. That shouldn't be possible, regardless of what we do in our code. And now we are getting closer to this concept of the state machine. How many know what a state machine is, ish? Shit. No, I'm just kidding. That's going to be fun as well. You can help me explain it if I do a bad job. And we also want to somehow enforce the transitions between those states. And one way we can do this is by creating this state machine. And let's go to this teal row. Oh no, spoilers, I forgot to remove that. No one saw it. And we have our 4 states. We had the intro, have anyone used teal row? It's a great, great tool. It's free. We have a lot of fantastic features, and it's really good looking without me having to try. So we have these states, and in between them, we have transitions. So when we go from intro to idle, for example, and idle to bust, and bust to ended, and then bust back to idle as well. And then we send events to trigger this. So here we send the start event. Here we send the bus event. This is the incorrect event. And this is the, correct. And when we do this, we right now have this state machine. We have the states, and we have sort of the events, but we haven't enforced that this intro state only goes to the idle state. And one way to do this in JavaScript is something called XState. And XState is a bit of a monster. It's a massive library. It has features for like actors and AI and shit. And you can see there's a lot of like, you can do nested states and parallel states. And we're not going to talk about that today. But if you want to, it's a great library, even if it's a bit daunting sometimes. So if we look at this, we want to convert this to use this machine. And I have prepared this small quiz machine. Looks like this right now. So this is from XState. We say import create machine. And then we say create machine and give it an ID. And then we have to tell this machine what states it can be in. So we do states. And we say intro, idle, bust, and ended. And now we have the states. And to enforce those transitions that I talked about, you tell this machine what events it accepts in what state. So in the intro state, we can do on. So when we get this event, and this is the start event, we want to go to the target idle. And this idle is the same as this then. And in the idle state, we do the same thing. So on, bus, we go to the target, bust. And then we do the same thing in the bust. So on, and then we do incorrect, target should be idle. And for correct, we go to ended. And for the ended state, that doesn't accept any events. We can tell XState that this is the final state. So when we've reached this, the machine has ended. It doesn't really matter in this demo, but there are different types of states in XState. So now we have this machine. And to use this, we just go back here and we remove this as well. And we say const, and we get a state function and a send function from use machine. And this is of course React specific, but XState has SDKs for like pretty much every library out there. And then we import our machine and pass it to the machine for the use machine hook. And then instead of doing, let's disable these lines again, just so it doesn't scream at me. And then instead of doing set state here, we send those events that we talked about to this machine. So we do send, and then we send type, and type is the name of the event. So in this case, we want to send the start event. And I can also mention that right now type is just string. I'm using TypeScript, but I haven't typed this machine. You can do it, but I think no one wants to see me live code types. So we're skipping that. But you can type it, and that's pretty nice. And then we do the same thing for the other one. So here we send the type bus event. We send send type. Is this the incorrect button? Yes, incorrect. And we send type correct. And if we do that and go back to this, we get a white page. I've forgotten something. Hang on. I have an error. Oh, it's not. So I got the state up here. Now the state from this use machine isn't just a simple state. This is the state of the machine. You can put stuff in the machine. So you can put a context in the machine that maybe keeps track of what question you're on, or what answer you're on, or what user actually pressed the bus button, or whatever you want to do in our example. But to get the actual name of the state, you just do state value to string. And we should get. Should be back? No, we're not back. Hang on. Any other error? Nothing. This is the fun with live coding, right? Hang on, let's see. No initial state. Oh, right. Good. So now this machine complains because I didn't tell it which state it should start in. So I have to do initial intro. I can't spell. And we're back. All right. I removed the disable stuff, but if we click start, we go to idle. If we click bust, we go to bust. If we click incorrect, we go to idle. And if we click bust and correct, then we end it. And one thing that's different now then is that when I click the start and then the bust, now we're in the bust state. If I click start again, nothing happens. So now we have enforced those relations between the states that we talked about earlier. And we should fix the disabled states as well. And this is also quite nice because this button doesn't really care about what state it is in. It cares that if it can send this start event. And we can do that if we do if state can, and then we pass it the event, and we say start. So now instead of saying disable this button when we're in this state, we're saying disable this button if we can't send this event. And we're going to do that for other disabled buttons as well. All right, let's see. Multi-cursors is pretty great, right? Do, state, can, type. We can even do, now I'm in deep water, right? Fuck. Hang on. I can solve this, I can solve it. There we go. That was definitely quicker than just typing everything. That's not worthy of an applause. Okay, so now we're back here. We have the same demo as we had before. Everything looks the same, but we have a bit better, solve this a bit better. So now, for example, if we were to change this machine, if we wanted to say that when you click incorrect, it doesn't go to idle, it goes to the intro instead. We just have to change here, and then this UI will still work and do what we want it to do without touching this component at all. So it doesn't care about states, it just cares about sending these events. And there's, whoops, I undid too much, sorry. Let's put this back to idle. We also have this like analytics thing down here. This is also like, we don't really want to track this analytics when we click this button. That's not the event or the thing we're listening to. We want to track this when the game actually ends. So instead of doing it in here, we can move it into our machine. And so in the ended state, we can add an action, and this can be an entry action. So we just pass it a function, and we do track analytics, and we do game ended again. And now when we get to this ended state, we are gonna do that automatically. And let me just remove that. And let's see if we can actually see it. I can't remember if I added this as a console log. So bust and correct, and yeah, analytics, game event, tracked, game ended. All right. So this is great. I mean, there's a lot of more things you can see. I mean, you can do stuff like after, which is like a timeout for the state or automatic transitions. So you can say after 3 seconds, then go to the, I don't know, intro state. So now if we click start and then doesn't do anything, no hands, look. Woo! Then we can do stuff like that. So that exists, but I also titled this talk Into the Visual World of State Machines. This isn't very visual. So there is tooling around XState and other state machine libraries as well, but XState is pretty good. So if we copy all of this and we go to this stately AI, that's the creators of XState, and we do import code, and we paste everything, and we do import, and suddenly we have our machine in a much better representation. So now we can see that, all right, this is our quiz machine, we have the intro, we have the start event, idle, bus, incorrect, bus, correct, and we have I did the action inline, the entry thing, that's why it says unnamed action, but then we have the ended state as well. And this is pretty good, but we can also click simulate, and suddenly we can click here and run this state machine. And we can see that, all right, we are doing this the same way. We can, of course, like edit this state machine as well in here. So we can do like, let's say, for example, we wanted another from idle back to intro. We could do that here and add another event and I don't know, call this reset or whatever. And this is, I think this is pretty fantastic to have this visual representation of your business logic, because now you can suddenly talk to like the UX designers or the business people or whoever you want to talk to and actually watch the states. And for example, like UX designers, it's great to have to build a component and then you have a state machine in it. And then you just say, all right, I need the designs for all of these different states and how it's going to look. How are we on time? Almost halfway. I think that's fine. Okay. And I think this is great. It's a bit. I mean, I don't really like that I have to go to like the stately AI stuff. I mean, they have like a lot of. There's a cloud service running this. I haven't used it, but you can like share those state machines and host them, and a lot of magic. But you can also actually, if we go back into VS Code. There's an extension to VS Code for XState. So you see this little open visual editor. So now if we do open visual editor, we get the same thing in here. This isn't, let's see, auto layout. Auto layout is definitely failing me. Let's see if we can just pull this around a bit and see where we... This is not a good demo of this. All right, it's better. Hang on, soon. There we go. All right, we start down here, and then we go to the start event, and you can also simulate in here. You can click start, you can click bus, you can click incorrect, you can do whatever you want. You can also edit it in here. So if we, from the ended event, let's say we don't want this to be a final state anymore, we just want it to be a normal state, and we can say that, all right, from this, we should be able to go to the intro state if we have a reset event. And what's great about this is that now if we look at the ended state, we suddenly got the on reset go to intro. So now you don't even have to write this boring object anymore. You can just do it inside this. And this is also something that you can do if, let's say that you find a bug in your state machine. Let's say we have, I don't know, we have forgotten to, or we accidentally send the start event over here or something. Then XState also comes with dev tools. So we could do something like this, import, not import, const, inspect, not from, equals, create browser inspector, and then we pass that to use machine, and just say inspect. And we go back to our demo, refresh this page. We get another, let me put those side by side. And suddenly we have dev tools for this state machine. So you can see the state machine here again. But now when we click the state updates and visualizes how it actually looks in our application. So now we can see that this does this. And if I go to events, you can see that, all right, I clicked bus, but it's sending start. Oh, all right, that's why it's not working. And we can change it back to bust and then again see that it works as it should. So bust, incorrect, bus, correct, and so on. All right. You can, of course, do a bit more like this is a very simple example, a bit in the interest of time. But we can, of course, if we want to do this a bit more complicated, let's do something. Let's add that the user has to answer a question when they buzz or something like that. So we do something like this. Don't complain about my semantic HTML. What's the capital of France, maybe? And then we do an input, and we just do this let's add a state for the input, maybe const answer, set answer, use state. Copilot autocompletes this. I'm missing it, unfortunately. We add that, and we say that, all right, the value of this is answer, and we do on change, oh, Jesus Christ, event, right? Set answer, maybe event target value-ish. I think that's working. So we have an input and we have our question. Now what we want to do is when you buzz, don't complain about the UX again. When you buzz, we also send along the answer. So now our machine looks like this. What's the capital of France? Maybe we should actually do, let's say that we disable this as well, so it's a bit clearer. Disabled when you can't send bus, maybe. Is that right? Start bus, all right, great. So now you click start, and then you wait for the user to type the answer, and we type Paris, and then we click bus, and then you come here. But now you get to the point like all right, what am I gonna do? Incorrect or correct? I don't know if Paris is the capital of France. Who does? So let's say we don't want to judge this. Let's remove the incorrect button. Let's remove the correct button. And then we use AI to do it. So instead of going to the bus state, let's rename this to loading. Let's remove the bus state. And we do a loading state. And in the loading state, instead of just keeping this as a state, XState also has something they call invoke. So we can invoke something, and this is a lot of things. There's actors, and you can invoke classes, and like other state machines and child states and stuff like that. But we are just going to do a promise. So you do this invoke, you give it a ID, you say check answer maybe. And then this invoke also needs to know what input it should send along. So we do input, and then from the event that we just did, we pass that along as an answer. So we do event.answer. This is really going to test my live coding skills, we'll see. And then we say that this invoke should invoke this source and our source. Now this is a helper function from XState called fromPromise. So you can just do fromPromise. And then inside this, we will do something. We'll do check answer with AI. And now we're gonna just pick this input variable, and then we do input.answer, and then I haven't passed along the question, so let's just hard code it. What's the capital of France? And when that's done, maybe this is a bit too, it just says what's the capital of France. When that's done, we have to tell the machine what to do with the result from this promise in our case. And then we do an on done, and this is gonna do one of two things, so it's an array. And this is just a transition, like what we have defined, like on the on reset and stuff like that. So we can do target should go back to idle, or it should go to ended. And then to define what of these we're gonna what's gonna run, we apply a guard to it. And a guard is just what it sounds like. It defines if you should run this transition or not. And then you do guard, and you say I think, what's this? Is it event here? Maybe not. I can't remember. Give me a second. It's gonna come back to me. And you do event dot output. Yeah. I think this is right. If this is false, right? Then we're doing that, and then we're adding this guard to the other one as well. Whoops. And we are saying true. So now we define that, all right, we invoke this when we get to the loading state. We grab this input from the event, we pass that input to the machine, and we run this function, check answer with AI. It's really simple. It's just, the question is, the provided answer is the provided answer correct? And it sends it to OpenAI, and it does whatever OpenAI does. And then when it's done, we define these targets. And depending on if output is true or false, it's gonna transition to another state. Fingers crossed. If we go back, we can still have this here. You can see that now we got some more here. We can see that, all right, we go to the bus, then we go to the loading, and it runs. This is still called an actor, even if it's a promise. And then depending on the guards, we go to different things. Let's see. All right, let's do Malmö. Then we bus, and we go to, please, internet. Oh, we go to idle. Whoa. All right, now the real question comes. All right, we do Paris. And wow, it actually worked. I'm impressed with myself. All right. It's not the greatest UI. You can, of course, do like, since this is just a transition, we could also add actions here. So we can do like action, and then we say, maybe we add a toast, and we say this was incorrect. Isn't it called action? Hang on, is it called actions? Yeah. Actions, and then we do toast. Correct. And let's just try that again. So we do Stockholm, and then we get incorrect. Beautiful toast. All right. I have so much time left. I've been really quick. I have stuff to show you, but there's a lot of time. So these state machines are great for building stuff like this, like games and stuff, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. But they are also good at building like regular components. I mean, as like front-end stuff, you do components every day where it's like, oh yeah, when you're in this state, do this, and when you're in this state, do that. And encapsulating them in state machines is actually pretty good. There are libraries or component libraries that just use state machine for every component in the library, which are pretty good. I can't remember the name, but I can find it for you if you want. But they're also good at like flows, like for example, a form wizard that I talked about earlier. When you can like really explain that, all right, when you're in the first step of or first state of this form, we can accept these inputs and it updates the context of the machine. And then we can transition to the next state or the next form part, wizard part. And one thing that I've actually built with this, it was a few years back. It's called Draw What the Fuck. It looks like this. It's a really, it's a game, or it's pretty much Pictionary-ish. So everyone gets a prompt that you should draw a bird or whatever, and then everyone draws this at the same time, and you get a result that's judged by a shitty AI. And not like this new generative shitty AIs. This is like old school shitty machine learning AI. So and I just wanted to show you this machine because it's an actual example. So this works like when you start this game, you create a room, and when you get into the room, it's in the state waiting for players. And when players join, it updates the context to keep the state of the players in sync. And then when player leaves, it updates it. And then when you've reached a certain target for the number of players, it's going to start the game. And then it has a bit of countdowns. It sets a motif for what we're going to draw this round. And if a player joins, you get a bit more time and stuff like that. And then after a certain amount of time, it goes to the drawing state, which then starts a timer for the round that we're playing. Then after a certain time again, I think it's 20 seconds in the actual, this is a bit simplified, then it calculates those scores with those shitty AI. When the scores are received, you start the countdown, and when after another certain timeout, you go back to the starting state where the round starts over and you can draw again. And I think we're gonna try to play this live now. I have no clue how many players it can actually survive, but I think it's funny if you can see this. So this is, I have no clue if this is gonna work. There's a big risk that it's just gonna break. I see someone joining. Internet is working, starting game. Jesus Christ, so many people are joining. All right, I'm gonna remove that. I can't show, apparently I can't scroll. I think that's a bug. And you're gonna draw a scorpion. As soon as no one joins for 10 seconds, we're gonna see if this ever happens. But I have 8 minutes left on my talk, so I'm not in a hurry. We'll see, 5 seconds, 10. 10. 10. I don't know, unfortunately can't see how many people are in this. This is gonna crash the server, 100%, but we'll see. All right, we're playing, draw, you have 20 seconds. I can see you drawing some. Fredrik is drawing pretty good. Amalia is pretty good. Someone just below, can I scroll now? Nope. I love Tibbe's scorpion. And it calculated. I have no clue who won. Who won? Someone should get it on their phone if they won. The max score is 100,000. Yeah, 93,000 is good. I'm very sad that I can't scroll. You can play another round. Give me a second. Give me a second. I don't have much else to show after this, so you can just go for it. Why can't I scroll? I'm annoyed. This is the... I was really trying to... Oh, right, you're drawing a cow now. That's a hard one. I'm very surprised that my server is holding up. The cows are... Devlead's cow is the absolute best. Not as high scores on that one. Do you want to do another round? There's time. One more. Let's see if we get a fun prompt, and then we'll do one more, and then we'll finish this up. All right, draw a snake, guys and girls and folks. Ah. I hope Devlead wins. 4.
It's like, oh, no.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna leave that up if you want to play, but I'm gonna talk at the same time. So to summarize this, the state machines are great, in my opinion, to like encapsulate state, encapsulate the transitions between them. I really want you to bring along as well that you don't have to go all in. You don't have to reach for XState, for example. There's a lot of smaller libraries that just do like the restriction on transitions, for example, or what event you can take in what state. And there's also a lot of alternatives to XState, of course, but XState is like the biggest and the most popular. And you can also do it like just with the string enum we did in the beginning. Where you could just replace 4 state variables with one that is the state as a string. I think that's, if someone goes back to work and replaces a couple of state variables with just a string, then I'm gonna be happy. So there's 5 minutes to go. Does anyone have any questions? Yes?
I got really excited that I XState one time and replaced our whole Redux and Saga stack with it, which was a total failure. I had 2 problems with replacing your existing kind of Redux Saga kind of stack versus trying to do everything with XState? Because they ended up with like 20 state machines that were gigantic. It just seems like it's hard to find that line. So where would you draw that line?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. If you didn't hear, it was pretty much like if you start replacing a lot of code like Redux and Sagas and stuff, and then it grows to a lot of like big state machines that are unwieldy, where would you draw the line to use XState or not? Was that? Yeah. In my experience, it's very hard. I don't have like a clear answer. Unfortunately, it's like how long is the stick? But I usually encourage people to really start small and not try to like. I mean, this game runs entirely on XState pretty much. There's one state machine that runs this game loop, and then there's a state machine that runs the game loop in the phone when you play. That's not really how it works for most applications. I think most places you should like try to do XState for smaller things at first at least, and then see if it can fit if you make it bigger. They have some alternatives. Nowadays they have a thing called XState Store, which is a simplified version or a bit abstracted version above XState for state management in like React applications. And I think that's good. I think they are slightly reworking it, so I wouldn't use it now. But I think the next version that's coming is going to be great. So I don't really have a great answer on when to like draw the line, but I really encourage people to start small and then work from there. Any other questions? Yes?
Performance, I mean, does it affect performance a lot? Change from a smaller set states to XState?
No, yeah, I wouldn't say so. I mean, your bundle is going to grow because you pull in a dependency, but the like actual performance is negligible, depending on what you do. If you do a very complex thing inside your machine, that's another question. But yeah. Anything else? I'm getting a bit. All right, and you can of course come up and talk to me afterwards as well. That's no worries. Now I can actually see these stats. There's some stats here. You can see that, and they're not working. Shit. But look, we had a lot of players. Someone. I can't see the player name because I refreshed the site. Someone won. All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to end it there. Have a nice day.